Okay, we're live, Crystal. Fantastic. Okay, so
Correct.
guys, listen. So I'm going to introduce you in just a minute to Crystal, who's the stockist for Idaho. One of the problems with many of the stockists is that we don't get to see a face or get to know them or whatever. So I've been working price now for about a year, and one of the things I've found is it makes a big difference who you use as a stockist, because some of the stockists are great. I'm going to introduce you to one of the top two right in a minute, in my opinion, my humble opinion, right? And I've used a lot of the stockists. So when you use a stockist, if everything's good, usually there's no problems and it's fine. What sometimes can happen is there can be problems. We're seeing a lot of broken ones, for example. If you have a problem, the stockist you use is critical. And sometimes, even if you don't have a problem, some stockists can be pretty slow in sending out orders and very bad in responding to you. If you have a question or if you're asking, hey, where's this order? They just don't reply. So I have wide experience now of all the stockists, and I just thought it was time. A lot of people have heard me say, hey, if you're going to use a stockist, choose Idaho or Colorado, Dina at Colorado or Crystal at Idaho. So I'm going to hopefully in this video start to help you understand why I love Crystal. So, hey, Crystal.
Hey.
Hey, so what I want to talk about a little bit, first of all, Crystal, is some of the problems that we get and how you as a stockist handle them. You have been fantastic for me personally, and I've been so grateful for that. But we have, especially in the last number of months, we're seeing a lot of, not type 2, I'm saying, what's the word, type 2 version? Yeah, is it type 2? What do we
the
call
classic it? 2.0. 2.0.
All right, I should know what we call it, type 2. Whatever. We are seeing a lot of problems with them breaking. Right now, I am seeing a lot less problems than it appears a lot of my team are that are using other stockists. So I was at the beginning, I figured the reason for that was because it was down to the batch that stockists were getting. Like some batches were bad, other batches were less bad. And I do think that is part of it. But then I found something out that you were doing that was making a big difference. Do you want to explain what you've been doing?
Right. Yes. And you are right that sometimes there are bad batches, and that does create some problems with them in the field. But what I have been doing pretty much since day one is inspecting the devices. So just, checking the box first of all, and then checking the device itself, making sure there's no dents or scratches, things like that. And then we also inspect the crystal tube, making sure there's no cracks or large blemishes that would potentially impact using the device, or could potentially later on lead to bigger breaks or blemishes in the crystal. So we make sure that's not a problem. And then we also plug in every device and run it for, maybe 30 seconds, and we turn it on and off 5 different times to make sure it's not going to just not work the first time someone uses the device. Now that does prevent us from shipping out quite a few devices right now because of the issues that we're having, but there are still devices that get shipped out and then end up being returned because, a month in or 2 months in, the device stops. But by doing this, it does prevent initially having bad devices go out.
Well, that sounds like a lot of work to me, to have to go through everyone, check out. You showed me some of the crystals that you found little dints and things in that you've personally, held back and not sent out. But the fact that you're doing that unquestionably means that there's less problems. Obviously, you can't run it all day and all the rest of it. And as you say, sometimes it's 2 months in, but there's a percentage of ones that right off the bat don't work, right, in the first minutes. Right. So you're picking up a lot of those and stopping them going out, stopping the problems. That is on its own. And I already loved what you do as a service, and I've already been recommended before that. But that's the kind of example of what you do to support your people and reduce the problems and make life easier. In fact, you do so much that there's been times when I've said to you, Crystal, don't do that. Stop it. You're doing too much, right? Where you're helping people, really sometimes doing the distributor's job of teaching people how to place an order. You're on the phone sometimes for hours running people through because they're having problems with their PayPal or how to do an order and that, and you're sitting there explaining it, patiently walking them through, doing, frankly, something that's not your job and is taking a lot of your time. And I'm not seeing other stockists do that. And I feel that when you're going so far out of your way to help us, we should be supporting you and the couple of other stockists that are out there, which aren't many, that are kind of giving that kind of support. So today, we were just having a chat before we came on, and today, how long have you spent on the phone helping people process orders because they don't know what they're doing?
Well, I've been on the phone almost 12 hours straight today, but not all of it was related to that. But I would say at least half of that has been helping people put orders in, helping them find something in their back office, or helping them place one of their new accounts, a PayPal issue, couldn't get the order to go through, kind of just one thing after another that certainly if I didn't answer the phone, they might go elsewhere, or, that sort of thing. So I do try to be very responsive in answering calls when they come in, but oftentimes I'm on the phone. So I try to, reach out and let them know I can call them back as soon as I get off the phone.
Well, you raise another point that I want to bring up, actually, because one of the issues I've had with some of the stockists, I'm not going to name any stockists, of course, but one of the things I've had, they've been great while everything's great. They've shipped out, everything's cool. Then I've had a problem, or my customer has had a problem, and so they come to me with the problem. So I go to the stockist and say, hey, and some of them just don't reply at all. Like I've had stockists that weeks of me sending message after message, they don't answer the phone, they don't, whatever. It's an absolute nightmare. So I don't use those stockists. Of course, it took me a process to figure out all of this stuff, going through different things. One of the times when I used a whole bunch of stockists was going back sometime, if you remember, when nearly everyone was out of stock. There was this period, and so we were waiting for a stockist to get stock, and whoever that was, we'd use them, and then if there wasn't a problem, that would be fine. But then if we got a problem, I found out so many of the stockists are not doing a great job. Let's put it that way. They're not responding. Now, I think I can honestly say that I've been using you and Colorado for most of a year now, and I think, you've disappeared, you've just gone a black screen. I think you're still there, you're back. So I think I can honestly say that when I've messaged you or called you, I usually message, but I don't think you've not got back to me that same day ever, as far as I can recall. I think you've always got back, and it's not uncommon for you to immediately respond. But I wouldn't want to put that on you, because obviously you've got a busy business to run, and we can't expect people to immediately respond every time, but you do respond quickly. And then when you respond, you deal with stuff. I know that I can pass a problem into your hand. Here's my customer. In fact, one of the things that I've done sometimes is opened a chat. This is with a problem, so maybe someone's got a broken wand. And here's what I do, guys. Let me tell you what I do. I open a chat with my customer with a broken wand and Crystal. I connect them, and then I leave the chat. And I can leave it with Crystal, and she'll handle it. And I never get a customer coming back saying, hey, it's not happening. No, it's a problem solved. I'm just connecting Crystal with the person, and that's it. I love that. I appreciate that so much. And it's not happening many times with other stockists. So my encouragement to you guys, for your own sake, but I also want to support a mum, which Crystal is, in her business as well, support her business as well. I like, we're all about supporting each other and what have you, right? So we should be supporting people that are trying to do a good job and are doing a good job. So let me just make sure that you know who we're talking to. We're talking to Crystal. right, in Idaho. Now, Crystal, tell us this. So if somebody puts an order on the opposite side of the US, because some people think that you need to choose the stockist that's the nearest, and that couldn't be further from the truth. It's really not that important, right? So if somebody on the other side of the US, I can't really think where Idaho is geographically. Help me out. Is that Idaho east, west?
Idaho's in almost the furthest west corner of the U.S. and I
West.
can,
So that's
yeah,
California side. You're on California side. So if somebody in New York, let's say, does an order with you, first of all, how long can they typically expect? Now, most of the time you've got stock. You're rarely out of stock, my experience. Although
right.
it's worth checking if you're doing like a pro or something. But how long do you typically take to get a wand from the time you receive it out of the door to wherever it's going?
So we process orders immediately, meaning we are exporting orders constantly throughout the day into our shipping system, and we will ship them out. Like today's orders will ship out tomorrow. And the reason that we wait for tomorrow is because if we don't, this has happened a lot where people will cancel orders and we don't ever know that it's canceled. So if we process an order today, package it up, ship it out, someone can actually cancel that order before commissions run tomorrow, and we'll never know until later on down the road or something. So
I I
we
didn't
have
even
to wait
know they
for.
could cancel the order. I thought once an order was done, that was that. It was done, except for extreme circumstances.
No, it can be canceled up to the point when commissions run. So if it was put in,
You have it,
yeah,
yes, right. That makes sense.
yeah,
I've learned something there.
yeah.
Okay.
So we package them up and we ship them out the next day. And almost every address that we ship out to is a 2-day delivery. There are some more rural. In fact, there's actually some addresses here in my own state that you would think would only be 1 day that are actually 3-day delivery because of how rural they are. So there's some occasional orders that come in that do take 3 days, but typically they're all 2 days across the United States. And we
Right.
also ship to Canada
I was
still, even with the Canada stockists, we're still shipping some to
about,
some folks.
I was about to bring that up. So, one of the things that you've been very helpful with me is sometimes, quite often, Canada is out of stock for various reasons. And when that's the case, I always come to you because you do a great job of getting ones into Canada. Now, I have on occasion, again, just to let you know, I've got experience of using other stockists. It's always been on more expensive than when I've gone to you because you managed to get the price. I think that recently you managed to send one. I don't know what was going on, but you managed to send one to Canada for $10 shipping. I don't know how you did that. You've obviously sleeping with the mailman or something. I don't. I don't know, but $10. So and you also managed to get it through with minimum to no tax. Oftentimes no tax. So very low shipping, no tax. You've got connections in Canada, I know. So again, you've done a fantastic job. Now, something else I will raise. I've had situations where during the time of no stock, I used other stockists. Then we've had a problem 6 months, 8 months down the road where the person that got that wand is now broken. The stockist I went through is doing a horrible job, not communicating, not getting back to us or whatever. I've been able to come to you. I almost feel like I'm abusing you. I really do. But I've come to you and said, look, Crystal, here's the situation. We've got this order with this stockist from blah, blah, blah. 6 months ago, it's broken. Any chance you can help out because they're not responding? And you've done it. And you've done it multiple times like that. So this is the kind of support that is rare among even the better stockists. They're not doing this kind of thing. And frankly, you've done things for me that I can't even say because you've bent rules to help me out and do things that I don't want to put out publicly. And these things I can say publicly, right? But you've really helped me out in a number of ways that isn't even strictly, whatever. I'm not even going to go there, but just to drop that out there. So,
Yeah,
so the bottom line. Oh, go on, speak.
it's important to me, really, really important to me that people are taken care of. And So I've done that for a lot of folks that have struggled getting a hold of a stockist, or even have gotten a hold of, but they haven't, gotten back to them for one reason or another. And so yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily my responsibility to take care of someone else's order, but I just feel it's important to do that. To these people shouldn't have to wait that long to get a replacement, and so I will do whatever I can to make it happen and get them shipped out a replacement.
And you do some weird things as well, like I don't know that, for example, there's occasions where you will send out a part for the one, like the one type 1 version, whatever. The bayonet fitting often breaks. Now there are situations where you will say, okay, I'll send you out just the end piece,
Yep.
with the crystal in there and what have you. So if you've got certain weird situations like that, Crystal will play the game and help out to try and make sure the customer's happy. And that is so important, because ultimately we need happy customers. We want happy customers, and we want the least amount of hassle and stress. I do think Crystal takes on too much stress and hassle on her shoulders sometimes, more than she should. And that's why I say sometimes I almost feel like I'm abusing her. I try to respect her time and what she's doing and all the rest of it as much as I can, but she's one of those givers that just wants to give, and I try not to take too much. But okay, hopefully that's given people a little bit of an idea. I want to give you a chance, Crystal, to just say anything else that you feel might, you want to say.
Yeah, on the Canada orders, I just wanted to point out that right now I've been given some really large discounts with FedEx, and so rather than me profiting on someone's shipping money, I give that back, and that's why I was able to do that order for $10 instead of the normal 35 that is usually charged. So and then they could use that money for any taxes or whatever that they were originally going to have to pay for shipping. So I feel that needs to be given back to the customer. If I'm given the discount, then I need to give that back to the customer. So that's why I do that. And I don't want them to have to pay more money to get the device. So trying to think of other things that might be important. Just we always respond.
Yeah, so one thing, so you've got a number of ways of being connected. So I connect with you directly in Messenger, typically on Facebook, right? So we're Facebook friends, right? And I can just message you in Messenger. However, you also have a group, right? So where's your group at?
There's the Telegram, iTerracare Idaho Stockist Telegram group, where I post our updates daily with just the numbers of our stock inventory. There's not a lot of interaction that occurs on there, but people can certainly ask questions on there. And then we have our business phone is 208-593-7535. Respond very quickly to text messages. Certainly will reply and respond to voicemails, just not as quickly. I can respond much quicker as texting, of course, but we will get back to people each day regardless. And
Yes,
then of course we have
group, I never really post in there, but I do visit just to check your stock sometimes. If I want I don't want to pester you and ask you a question when it's already there. So I'll hop onto the Telegram and just check. The only time I might message you is with a pro, because with a pro it's such a big cost, and I like to know that it's current information. But there you go. So listen, guys, I really would like my team to have less problems, because that means it works better for everybody. And the best way of doing that is to use a stockist that helps you to have less problems. And I don't think there's anybody better than Crystal at Idaho. And as I said multiple times, the other person that you might want to use, if, for example, Crystal's out of stock, would be Colorado, which is Dina, Dena. She has many of the qualities that we talk about with Crystal. She's also helpful and responds, and so on and so on. If anyone has any questions, this is going to be posted in the team support group. You can ask questions underneath. Crystal isn't in that group, but I will answer. And if I can't, I will connect you with Crystal directly. Okay, so I think we're done, unless there's any last momentary thing that you have, Crystal. No?
Nope,
Okay.
I think you covered everything. Thank you so much, Ethan. I appreciate
Not,
you all.
not a problem. So God bless everybody. Have a great day. And like I say, ask questions, and just remember, if you're, support Idaho, support Colorado, and they give us amazing support. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.